Hello everyone and welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk to you about the Marchman Act and what happens to the 72-hour clock, which is the clock for doing an assessment under the Marchman Act, if the individual, the patient, is Baker acted in the midst of all of this. So one of the changes to the Marchman Act, amongst other things, is the fact that the new statute provides that there is a 72-hour window to do the assessment unless the facts of the case fit within certain exceptions, okay? And I'm not going to go over those in this video, but just know that it's an initial 72-hour hold. Not unlike the 72-hour hold that you've heard me talk about in the Baker Act. Remember, there's two types of Baker Act, involuntary and voluntary. When it's involuntary, there's a 72-hour window. Same now with the Marchman Act. There is a 72-hour window. So what happens in the middle of all this, in the middle of the 72 hours, if somebody is Baker acted? And so let me give you the sort of scenario, the facts. And I like to base these videos on real cases because, look, you can go online and read the statute as pretty as well as I can, if not better. But let me tell you how this really works, because that's the most important thing. So we had somebody that we had filed the Marchman Act against, long history of, remember, primary substance use, also accompanied by some mental health issues, going on for a long time. The court granted our request for extraordinary relief, granted us an ex parte order for assessment without having a hearing. That's what ex parte means, right? No hearing. The other person doesn't know about it. And law enforcement was called to collect this person and take them to a designated receiving facility. Well, upon admission, within literally the first 5 minutes of this individual being at the facility, it was very clear to one of the clinicians that he needed a higher level of care. Now, as a qualified professional under both the Marchman Act and the Baker Act, this individual initiated an involuntary detention under the Baker Act, separate and apart from what was going on with the Marchman Act. So now you have a Marchman Act case where a Baker Act is actually also occurring. And so the person was then taken to a facility, a hospital, which was the nearest designated receiving facility. And on top of that, because the individual couldn't be stabilized within that 72-hour window, the 72-hour window that goes with the Baker Act, the facility, which is a licensed agent of the state's mental health system, filed a petition for placement, extended detention. So what happens to the 72 hours that is provided for in the court order under the Marchman Act? Okay, well, what happens is that there's the clock basically stops ticking. It's, for lack of a word, it's told, meaning the 72-hour hold, or I guess we're now 71, we'd have 71 hours and 55 minutes, right? Because remember, he was Baker acted in the first 5 minutes of the 72-hour window. That clock stops ticking. Now, when this person gets taken back to the receiving facility, if that even happens, because now the state has stepped in, because remember, the Baker Act is a statute that allows the state to take custody of somebody. It all depends really what happens with that hearing. And so as I sit here recording this video, I'm waiting to get a call from the prosecutor on that case to find out what happened, because that will help us determine what the next steps are. Is the person going back to the initial receiving facility? If so, when? And if they are going back, how do we get them back there? All of this stuff so that we can get the Marchman Act case moving forward. But as I have said in other videos, if somebody is Marchman acted, if there's a guardianship in process, frankly, even in a criminal case, a criminal investigation, the state's right to step in and take custody of somebody where there is a mental health crisis is paramount. It tops everything. It tops a Marchman Act. It tops a guardianship. Now, that doesn't mean to say that the Marchman Act or the guardianship case is over, but the state's ultimate power to take custody of you trumps everything. Trumps everything. And so understanding how Marchman Act, guardianship, and Baker Act all work together, because ultimately they're all statutes in one form or another that allow a court to order and place somebody in a facility for a specific time frame, for a specific modality of treatment, substance use, mental illness, a bit of both. I mean, the relief that we seek, I mean, it can be tailor-made to the particular facts of the case. But you get the idea, right? These things all work together, and that's why you got to understand how they work together. Because if you only do Marchman acts and you have somebody that's been Baker acted, what are you going to do, right? I mean, you're going to probably call me, and I'm happy to co-counsel. I co-counsel cases all the time with other lawyers, and I'm always flattered when they ask me. But the point is, these things all work together, and sometimes, even though you only wanted to file a Marchman Act or only wanted to file a guardianship, sometimes you can be running from one courthouse to the next, and understanding and being able to communicate and touch base with the parties is really, really important, right? Because now the Baker Act has been initiated, the state attorney's office is involved. Well, who's the prosecutor who handles the case? Do we know that person? How do we get in contact with them? Who's the lawyer that represents the hospital? Because they are a party of an interest too, because they're the ones that initiate the filing of the petition, even though they're an agent of the state's mental health system. So, because this is all that I do, right? I've been in touch with, there's two prosecutors who have touched this file. I've been in touch with both of them. There's a lawyer that represents the hospital. I've been in touch with him multiple times. So understanding how this all works together is key and critical to hopefully getting this young man back into the receiving facility and then into treatment, so we can finally address what's been going on. And it's been going on for a long, long time. I mean, years and years and years. And he comes from an amazing family, and they are desperate to save him. So anyway, that's tolling, that's the Marchman Act, and that's how it works when someone is Baker acted. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.